Hello guys, it's Jonathan here doing another Bottleman video, this time a Bottleman ranking. So this is going to actually be ranking every single Bottleman. Now, I've already made videos ranking each Bottleman line. However, this video is just kind of for fun. I'm just ranking these things based on how much I like them. So if you want a different look at them, kind of based on how good they are, well, I've already done videos on each and every line. So those have been up for either like 2 years or at least like a few months, depending on the line, so they're already there. This one, again, just purely for fun. It could be based on anything. Maybe I like how this thing looks, or the color scheme, or maybe it's a cool gimmick that I just like a lot, or just some other random arbitrary thing. So that's how I'm rating them. That's all there is to it. As far as the tiers go, I have 7 tiers. Lowest to highest is F, E, D, C, B, A, and S. And I will also number them, so obviously higher the number, the worse it is, so just progress through each tier, the number. I will say the numbers don't matter as much, the tier matters a lot more, because like, maybe 38 is above 39, obviously, but how much better is it really? Probably not that much. I just number them just based on, some random slight thing, and just that makes the list a little bit more interesting, but it's not overly important either, just thought it'd be fun to have. But yeah, main thing to pay attention to though are the tiers. So anyway, let's just go ahead and get into this video because it'll probably be kind of long, so we'll see how that goes. Alright, so starting with F tier. Number 52, my least favorite Bottleman of all time, Aqua Sports DX. I don't like anything about this Bottleman, I am sorry to say. The design of this thing is just kind of awkward. A lot of the stuff's just kind of small and whatever, like these arms, legs. There's like a whole tilt gimmick or whatever where it's like tilted back a bit so that like it kind of has a bit of an arc on the shots, but it's like very slight, so who cares? This head sculpt is awful. It's high up enough to where you think that maybe there's like eyes under here, but there aren't, and it's low enough to where it makes sense for there not to be, but it just looks really, really awkward. This magazine is small, too small in fact. The third cap doesn't fit properly in there. If you add more magazines on the back, it only gives you capacity increase of 1. This thing's just super uninteresting. I don't like anything about this Bottleman. Now then, number 51 is Cobalt Bottle G. This is simply just not a good Cobalt Blade remake. That's all there is to it. It doesn't look good. It's just a worse draggart, so it doesn't have anything else going for it. It exists, and I don't like it, and I hate this face shape that they used. Cobalt should just not have an angular face, and this does, and I don't like anything about this Bottleman. Alright, number 50. Cobalt Bottle Fire G. This thing, again, it just exists. It's not a good Cobalt Saber Fire remake at all. Again, the face doesn't work. I don't like this Bottleman in the slightest. The only reason why it's actually above the original is because it just looks more interesting. Like, inherently, these arms are more interesting looking. That's it. Like, I still hate these things just as much as remakes, and I don't like them in general, but it has more going on at least, so it's more interesting to look at, so that's literally the only reason why thing's above it. And number 49, the top of F tier for me is Aqua Sports. I'm not an Aqua Sports fan, I'm sorry. Just very kind of small, stocky, not a fan of it. Looks okay, the magazine's here. It's just a super bland Bottleman to me. I don't like anything here. Just kind of a compact, small Bottleman. And I just find it uninteresting. Also, I'm not the biggest fan of the color scheme here. It's like blue and silver. Okay, cool, I guess, but like it's not that interesting. Yeah, I just don't like Aqua Sports very much. And I know Aqua Sports is like one of the best Bottlemen for the prototype line. Probably, like, I mean, it is the best, let's be real, but in terms of how much I just like it, I don't. So that's why it's in F tier. Now we have E tier. These are the Bottlemen that I don't really care for very much at all, but they're not like completely awful. So anyway, number 48, Dual Gold. This thing, it exists. It kind of looks cool. Like, it's not bad looking. I don't hate this, but it's just so boring. You have like rollers and the hold parts, and then like you can attach an Aqua Sports magazine. That's cool, but it doesn't come with one. I mean, yeah, it's just really bland, honestly. That's why it's so low. Number 47, Bottle Phoenix DX. I'm not a fan of this thing. The color scheme's decent, but I don't like the yellow here on the blue and the kind of cement color. It's fine. I don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of Kolomaru shape, and it's just kind of a recolor Kolomaru, so I don't know, I'm just kind of mixing this one. It just exists. I don't like the face much either. I don't know, this one just feels like a decently worse Kolomaru DX to me, so yeah, it's going here. Number 46, El Milkaiser DX. This one, it's clearly an afterthought. It's meant to be part of a fusion. Yeah, you don't expect a whole lot from this thing, let's be real, so it's not good. I give it a magazine as well, but anyway. Well, yeah, it kind of looks interesting, I guess, but like not that interesting. The arms are really weird looking. Cool. I mean, it's kind of a one-handed speed type, but like it's not a great one-handed speed type. Yeah, as roller hold parts, yeah, the thing's just kind of there again. It's an afterthought for Royal Griffin DX. Speaking of, number 45, our Rhino DX. I think this one just looks a little bit cooler. I got the barrel here, because why not? It's control type. Pretty uninteresting overall. I think the design looks a bit better though, and also you do have the one-handed grip here. It's not a good one-handed grip at all, but I mean, it's there, I guess. It looks a little bit less like a complete mess, so that's nice, but it's still not really that great, so yeah. Number 44, Ayawashi DX. Well, the arms and legs are just Kolomaru DX arms and legs, so it's not a great start. I like the color scheme though, actually quite a bit. That's good. The head is pretty cool looking. I give it the magazine because why not? Has the speed hold parts as well. Has an interesting trigger, but it's not great. This thing just kind of bland, honestly. Like there's just not much to it. It looks cool enough, but not that cool either. I like the color scheme enough, but like I kind of wish it didn't have the dark blue at the same time. I don't know. Again, this thing, it just exists, and that's like all I can really say about it. And at the top of E tier, we have number 43, Earth Roller DX. This thing is just here. I don't like the color of this thing. It's like kind of orange, but not orange enough. So it's not great. We never really got a proper full-on orange mainline Bottleman, so this could have been it, but it just has a weird color to it. It's like a yellow and like this weird lime green. It doesn't have a great color scheme, I'm sorry to say. It looks kind of cool, but kind of awkward. It's fine enough, and then the gimmick, it like rolls side to side, which is, yeah. This thing's just really boring, honestly. It just exists, and again, it just lands in E tier. It's like the coolest of them, I guess, but it's still not really that interesting overall. And now we are on to D tier. These things aren't great, but they're not like horrible either. They're just kind of here, honestly, and that's all I can really say about them. So, number 42, Raid Brave DX. It is a vertical shooter. It looks decent. I kind of don't care. That's all there is to it for me. It just exists as a decent vertical shooter. Kind of a little bit boring, but nothing horrible, so I mean, it being a vertical shooter is at least like kind of interesting, so yeah, it's here. Number 41, Fusion Black. So Fusion Black, the gimmicks on this thing are horrible. It's a power type with roller hold parts, that's stupid. You got the metal cap, that's nice. The metal weights on him, it's like a larger grip, that's cool. It's a long trigger. this thing is just an afterthought for Blend Dragon. In terms of gimmicks, yeah, it sucks. However, what really carries this thing to D tier, it looks really good. Like the sticker designs here are really cool. I like what it's based on. It's just a cool looking Bottleman. It's unfortunate that everything else about this thing sucks. However, yeah, it gets a D tier. Not in kind of barely, but it gets a D tier at least because again it looks really cool. But yeah, it's something. Next up, we have number 40, Wonder Grape. Wonder Grape, it's kind of like Raid Brave, except I actually like it more because it's the first vertical shooter, and I think it looks better overall. I don't know, it just, the purple's cooler, I like the core color more. Again, it being the first one makes it a little bit more interesting just inherently. Yeah, it's a cool Bottleman. Well, cool enough, I guess. Nothing crazy, but not bad either. 39, CC Leon. This thing, in terms of gimmicks, it's like really, really uninteresting. It has like this this thing that twists and like you can like shoot at certain angles, but eventually it like comes apart because it wasn't well made. Really poor design. The design of the thing itself looks kind of cool. Like this back part's kind of cool looking, I guess. Head's cool looking. Main reason why I like it, it's yellow. I like yellow a lot, which is like a kind of an unusual color to like, but big fan of yellow. I actually don't think that the green looks bad here. I'm usually not a fan of green and yellow color schemes, but I don't know, the green kind of works here. So, I don't know, I just like the color scheme of this thing a ton, so it ends up being like decent high comparatively. 38, Draggart G, our first Godcat Bottleman, I believe. And yeah, it's Draggart, so, well, I guess first like original Godcat Bottleman, not counting like remakes and stuff, but yeah. This thing, it looks cool. I guess the angular head's not the best, but it's not bad. I mean, the claws are cool looking here. I like the color scheme a lot. Really, really nice color scheme. The big cap thing is weird, and I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it's also just weird enough to where I'm like, it's kind of interesting, so it's not bad, but it kind of gets outdone as well. It's a weird Bottleman, and it's weird enough to where I don't want to put it too low, so it's like kind of high up in D tier, but it's not good enough to really get past that for me. And 37, the top of D tier, Kerpeps. Kerpeps has a stupid gimmick where it has like this tilt thing, like 0 degrees, 5 degrees, 10 degrees. It can like ricochet its shots, that's what it does. It's kind of stupid. However, it looks incredible. The whole design is really nice. Also like the stickers, like the red and blue halves with the silver accents. It looks great. That's why this thing is high up, because it looks cool. But again, the gimmick is just dumb. So I feel like I can't, in good conscience, give this thing higher than D tier. But it's at least the top of D tier for me, so it does something, I guess. Now we have C tier. These are the Bottlemen that I think are pretty decent. Yeah, they're fine. So anyway, starting off with number 36, Skull Pistol. So Skull Pistol, this thing, it's just kind of fine, honestly. Has a barrel. That's kind of cool. It's a pirate theme. I mean, that's nice. It's just kind of there, honestly. I don't know what else to say about it. Yeah, I mean, it looks nice. Has a barrel. It's cool. It gets itself into C tier, I guess. Moving on to number 35, Samus. Now, Samus is a weird one. See the speed hold parts, but the other speed gimmicks though, the trigger has like a 2 springs, which is supposed to make it faster, and like this back part on the arms, it's supposed to make it have like a second cap capacity. Cap's flat here too much. This trigger just gets jammed constantly. You can probably already see like it just doesn't work well. So yeah, it looks pretty nice actually. I like the clear core. I like the color scheme on this thing in general. Looks really nice. This thing could have been higher in C tier, or at least like a solid B tier, but I just hate how these gimmicks don't work properly. It just annoys me, so it's not getting higher than this. Number 34, Samet's G. Samet's G, in almost every way, is just better than Samet's. You have a good magazine, the one-handed magazine, not one-handed, but like the two-way magazine. Got a one-handed grip in the back here. That's really cool. Roller hole parts. The light caps, I'm not a big fan of, but like, whatever. But yeah, this thing works really well. It's very cool. I like the color scheme a lot. I like the magazine color on this as well. So really, really cool Bottleman. This should at least be like a B tier. However, god damn, why do they make this thing so ugly? Like, look at this thing straight on. This looks absolutely abysmal. Like, the face is kind of awkward looking. I don't like the head shape under here either. The arms don't really match well here in terms of, like, how they're designed. These weird gaps here. It just looks so ugly. And that kind of kills it. It's like one of my least favorite looking Bottleman ever. But it at least has gimmicks, so it gets into C tier, but I don't like how it looks either, so it just is what it is. Anyway, number 33, we actually have Sprightening G. This thing is one of those two weird god cap, kind of throw together custom builds, whatever you want to call them. It's its own motif, so I decided to count it, but yeah, this thing's kind of just here. I mean, like, the CC Land EX armor set looks kind of cool, I guess. It's fine. I mean, you get the long barrel, that's neat. The Oxford's magazine, that kind of sucks. It's just like a solid custom build. It looks really cool, though. I will say, I like the darker green here. I actually really like how this thing looks in terms of like the green and stuff. But like the translucent accessories look really nice. It does lose some points for me, though, because, I mean, it's not really unique, so I thought C tier seemed pretty fair for it, because it's like, I like how it looks, but it's not like crazy. It works pretty well as like a multi-type, but it's not like overly unique, so yeah, it's just kind of fine. So I thought C tier was a solid spot for it. Alright, now moving on to number 32, we have Kolomaru DX. Kolomaru DX, basic power type, it looks a little bit ugly, I'm not gonna lie. It's not bad, though. It's okay looking, but some parts are kind of whatever on this thing. Basically just like the power, gimmick you get to push in. You got the drive strip there. It is what it is. Looks fine. It doesn't look interesting, like, well, not that interesting. It just exists for me. It's fine. That's why it's like the second highest spot in C tier. But what's better than this for me is number 31, and that is Kolomaru, the original. These things effectively do like the same exact thing, where they're just kind of like basic power types that exist. However, I like how this one looks a lot more, personally. It looks way better. It has the same thing where you're supposed to push in, you have the drive strip there, okay, cool. But it looks nicer. It doesn't look as crazy, I guess, but, it just has a nice look to it. I like it. It's pretty nice, so for me, I'll give it a spot higher, but it's not getting quite out of C tier. It's not that good, so is what it is, I guess. Now we get to B tier. These Bottleman I at least like, so that's nice. These are all pretty solid, so anyway, let's just get into them. So, number 30, Lifeful Guardian DX. It's a basic control type, the starting DX control type. Nothing too interesting, honestly. Pretty bland in terms of its gimmicks. However, I mean, it has like a short barrel, I guess, but it looks very unique, and I really like how it looks. That's why it's B tier. It barely scrapes into B tier, but it is still B tier because I just think it looks really cool. Number 29, CC Excellion DX. This thing is, in my opinion, even cooler looking than CC Land DX, but it's lower. Well, it has a better color scheme. Well, I hate this thing as a remake. It's still CC Land DX, still has all the cool stuff with it. Again, in my opinion, a cooler color scheme. But I just don't think that this sculpt, like the quadruped type of thing, you know, like this head, I don't like these as a CC, or as an Excellion remake, so it's still really cool, and it felt disingenuous to not put it kind of high up, because how much I like, you know, its appearance, but as a remake, it's not it, so low B tier for me. Number 28, 10 Satan DX. 10 Satan DX is a pretty nice Bottleman. I mean, has a cool looking head. I like the wings, they look really, really interesting. Kind of has what you'd want out of a 10 Satan DX, I feel. It, you know, looks cool. It has like a boost gimmick this time around, so I mean, you got the wheels on the feet and arms here to push forward. Cool, I guess. Nothing too crazy. Kind of wish it was more, you know, in line with its original version, but is what it is. At least it looks pretty cool, though. That's nice. Anyway, moving on to number 27, we have Bottle Wyvern G. This thing, the magazine, it's fine, I guess, but you got the nice one-handed grip. Looks pretty cool. It works as a Wild Wyvern remake, debatably better than Bottle Wyvern DX. However, this shouldn't exist. It is the second Wild Wyvern remake. That is stupid. This should be an evolution of Wyvern, at least, so... it's decent looking. I mean, it's a better looking Samus, at least, but, it also has a speed cap instead of a light cap, which is an upgrade, but yeah. I just don't like that it exists, because it shouldn't be another Wild Wyvern remake. Speaking of, number 26, Bottle Wyvern DX. Yeah, this thing, I think, yeah, you could argue that it's not as good as Bottle Wyvern G if you want to, however, it makes more sense. The other one just shouldn't have existed. This one was the first Wild Wyvern remake, so it just gets to be a spot above, because it's just a Doc Peppy on recolor. It looks pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Number 25, Salafire. Salafire is a weird one. It's a speed type. You got the the whole parts for that. You have these two, ball-like things in here, spheres, whatever you want to call them. They're actually bedomicized, which is pretty cool. And they kind of are meant to allow you to move around better, which is, I mean, I'm on a soft service right now, so it doesn't work as well. But if you're on a hard service, yeah, it works decently well. Nothing too interesting, though. However, the design of this thing is just great. I like how the legs are here. Does a lot, and also the color scheme. Kind of like this off-red color with, like, the brown core, like some tan, the blue, the gold. It's such a weird color scheme, but it works really well. It's kind of bold, and I just can't help but like it, and has a cool sculpt, so it ends up ranking very highly for me. Number 24, Bottle Sphinx G. This thing, it looks pretty decent. This curve cap, it doesn't work the best, but it's kind of interesting. The reason why this thing is so high up, though, is because it just actually works as a Stag Sphinx remake. Probably the best they could have done, so get some credit for that. But it's not quite as cool as Deku Tiger, but I mean, it's close enough. It also looks just as awkward, so yeah. Speaking of, number 23 is Deku Tiger G. Yeah, this thing, I kind of like how it looks. I mean, it's really awkward and weird, and has like the vertical thing going on. It has a vertical cap, which is really cool, actually. Yeah, it's pretty nice looking. I like the color on this thing, kind of like the orange juice color with like some other, orange, like darker orange accents and, whatnot. So, it's pretty nice. Probably the closest we've really gotten to a proper orange Bottleman, so it's something. Yeah, pretty cool Bottleman overall. Nothing too crazy, just a solid vertical Bottleman, so cool. Number 22, 10 Satan. This is better than 10 Satan DX. I like the wings on here more, honestly. Just always thought it looked a little bit nicer. I like the color scheme more as well. I got a little bit of green here. I like how the gold and red is used. I don't know, it just looks better in my opinion. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think 10 Satan DX was like a misstep in its design. I just think that this one looks cooler. But The misstep with that one is it doesn't have the, you know, this here, the power buckle, which adds, well, it kind of separates the wings, which then in turn adds more tension up here, which is cool. That's why this thing is like pretty high up in B tier, because yeah, it doesn't quite get above B tier for me, but it is really cool still. So it still does land itself a spot like higher up in B tier at least. So yeah, pretty cool Bottleman. And number 21, the top of B tier is Bottle Phoenix G. So yeah, Bottle Phoenix G looks great. I actually really like the look of this Bottleman. It has a really cool head shape as well. Just a great design overall. This thing definitely... Oh, let's... Okay, there we go. This thing definitely could have been A tier, I think, but the reason why it's not is because, well, while it does work very well as a Combat Phoenix remake, it doesn't have a drive strip. No drive strip? Yeah, top of B tier then. I feel like it needed that to really get a boost up to like A tier or S tier or something like that. But it doesn't have it, so for me, yeah, it's stuck at the top of B tier. Still very cool looking Bottleman for sure though. And now we're in A tier. All of these Bottlemen are really good. They're not quite S tier for me, but they are really good. So, number 20. Sparking Knight. Sparking Knight, the gimmick's really cool. They have like a ring sight here, which is actually pretty nice. And also the rail trigger system. This back part attaches onto the trigger and goes in kind of a straight line to kind of remove the trigger from like moving around too much, which is nice. Good control gimmick. Anyway, this thing also just happens to look really cool. I like the mask on this thing a ton. It's a great looking Bottleman. Number 19, we have Gyokroc. Why did this thing never get an evolution? Anyway, it's a basic control type with these, you know, like the sword barrel. It's not the craziest gimmick, but it exists. However, this is one of my favorite looking Bottlemen, easily. Just look at this thing. Like, it looks great. You know, it's, this thing is definitely up here just because of design. I like it that much. Also, I like the color scheme of this thing a lot. I like the greens and stuff that are used, so... And like the gold to kind of break things up. Yeah, no, this thing has a great design. Wish it got a proper evolution. That probably would have been like S tier. Number 18, Doc Papillon DX. This thing is pretty cool. I like the one-hand grip stuff going on, like the kind of hook trigger thing. Pretty cool. Not the craziest. The grip isn't the best, but it's a one-handed grip you can make, so that's at least something. The design of this thing is also pretty solid, but the color scheme, the dark purple with the magenta, yeah, no, that's some A tier stuff right there. So this thing probably would have been like B tier, maybe even C tier without the color scheme, but the color scheme, yeah, no, it's A tier for sure. Moving on to number 17, the dumbest one on this list probably. Well, one of. Valhalla DX. This thing, we have a barrel with speed type hold parts. That's kind of cool. You have like the whole 10 Satan boost thing, but it's not really on a proper power type. It just kind of is there. Now the design of this thing just looks great. I like the head sculpt. The 10 Satan parts work very well for this thing. Almost better than 10 Satan, I would say, so that's cool. However, the reason why I like the thing so much is the color scheme. Kind of this cement-like color with like the... Got some light green, some dark green, the gold. It just looks really great. And yeah, that's the whole reason why it's this high up. Number 16, easily one of the most interesting things to come out of the prototype system. Probably the most interesting single Bottleman for sure, and that is Rising Milk. Rising Milk is just crazy looking. You have to, you know, like the whole speed type hold parts. Get these extra parts back here, which just act as nice, you know, stabilizers. You have the speed caps, which is like the first time we saw all like different caps, and they have this huge magazine. And this thing has an 8 cap capacity. Very cool. Also, this thing looks really cool. Like, just look at the color scheme. It's like white, just clear, we got gold, blue, like dark blue on the stickers, light blue for some of the plastic stuff. Like it's just a great looking Bottleman and really cool. Not quite S tier for me personally, but it's still very cool for sure. Number 15. Okay, this might actually be the dumbest one on the list. Well, actually no, there's something worse. There's two things that are worse than S tier, but anyway. Number 15. Welch Crate G. This is just one of those custom builds, however, it's really cool. You got the Aerosider body set, which is nice. It's like a barrel mode here. That's the mode it's meant to be in. Got the not the Aerosider, the CCLAN DX magazine going on. The Samet's grip in the back here. Speed caps. Functionally, it's a little bit awkward. You kind of got to move stuff around to make it work, but it can work, I guess. But this thing is here for appearance. First up, the color scheme. It's like two different shades of purple that I like a lot, plus like a lime green. Got some gold, a little bit of red. Yeah, that's kind of green. Also like the caps here kind of being like a magenta-ish color. Same with the core. Oh yeah, this thing just works. But the sculpt, this thing just looks crazy. I can't help but like how just giant this thing is. Just a lot going on. Yeah, it might be like a custom build. It might not be like the best to use, but I don't care. It just looks so cool. Anyway, number 14. We have Koenig Kerpeps DX. This thing, yeah, it's very cool. It's just like a Kerpeps DX retool. You know, got the core that has, you know, space for two caps. I don't know why I can't think of the proper name, but whatever. Dual core, I guess. Anyway. So yeah, you get two shots. Pretty nice. Looks really cool. A little bit awkward, but nothing too bad. I like the color scheme of this thing a lot. They're really nice. However, number 13 is Kerpeps DX. I don't actually know which one I like more, if we're being completely honest here. Double shot core. Looks really cool. I like both color schemes a lot. I do prefer the original Kerpeps in terms of like color scheme, but anyway. This thing's still really cool. I put it a spot above Koenig Kerpeps DX though, because that's the remake, this is the original, so I figured, yeah, probably better to put the original first, so that's what I did. And then rounding out A tier, the best part of A tier, number 12, Royal Griffin DX. This thing is crazy looking. You got 3 shots in one. Kind of a barrel magazine too. This is giant like a bar as a trigger. It's just crazy, honestly. The only reasons why it's not higher, this thing could have been, I don't know if it'd be number 1. It would have easily been top 5 had it had these two things fixed. And at least if one of these would have been fixed, I think it still would have been S tier somewhere. First issue, this thing's just really jank. Parts like the fall off. This trigger can be kind of unstable. Yeah, it's not the best to use, which is kind of detrimental. But also, I'm not gonna lie, this color scheme kind of sucks. You got like this weird red, you got like this like light mint green, blue. What is this? I don't hate when they do weird color schemes, but I think for this one, I think they should have gone with something different. I don't think these colors mesh very well together either, so yeah, it's a little bit awkward looking because of that. I think had this had a better color scheme and had a little bit just been a little bit less jank, this is a top 5 Bottleman without question. But because of those things, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit lower for me. Still top of A tier, still really cool, but not quite getting to what it probably should have been. And now we get to S tier. This is for just the best of the best, my favorite Bottleman. So let's go and start with number 11, Premium Sapphire. This thing, yeah, it looks great. I like the red and blue a lot. Just the contrast looks really cool to me. So, yeah, very cool. Although this arm does fall off, which is unfortunate, but anyway. This is just a common issue with this Bottleman, unfortunately. But yeah. This thing, easily a favorite of mine. The only reason why it's not actually higher in S tier is because I feel like the gimmicks could have merged better between, Salafire turning into a control type and, what Blast Blast kind of offers here. Could have been better if this thing was actually control type up here, but it's not. However, I still like this thing too much not put this thing in S tier, so it barely scrapes in. Originally S tier was going to be, top 10. This thing would have been left out, but I had to include it. Number 10, CC Land DX. This thing looks really cool. I do like the yellow color scheme. I did say I did prefer the CC Excellion color scheme, but still this thing's very cool. I like the magazine. It was the first to do something like this as well, so I mean, gets extra credit for that. Just a cool magazine, cool sculpt. I like how big it is. It's just such a cool looking Bottleman. Kind of the first one to be like this. I guess maybe after Rising Milk, but like the first one in DX, so. Also kind of a turning point for DX, which is also nice. Now we get to number 9. Ryujin Blend Dragon. Yeah, this thing is something. Just combines the gimmicks of Rising Milk and Fusion Black into one Bottleman and looks very cool. Yeah, the gimmicks, they work well together. And it just looks great. A little bit janky, but not too bad. Just a Bottleman that I really like. I mean, the fusion, it was the first fusion as well. So yeah, this thing's definitely high up for me, and I can't get over how good this, like, head is up here. So yeah, it's definitely an S tier for me. Number 8, Aerosider DX. I just like this thing a lot. I like the white with, some of the green, blue, red. It just looks nice. Clear core as well. I like the grip here. You also have a barrel mode, stabilize mode. You could add multiple different, parts of the the armor set here to use multiple modes at once. It just looks clean. It's just such a solid, nice Bottleman. I don't know. For me, it's just a favorite of mine. I just like the gimmicks. It just works as a control type. You even have like a horn up here, which is good for like a sight. So just kind of like almost every control gimmick you could really want in one in some fashion. So while also looking cool. So S tier for me. Number 7, Bottle Phoenix Energy DX. This thing, yeah, it looks really cool. What else do I say about it? It's pretty comparable to Bottle Phoenix G for me in terms of how much I like its appearance. I do prefer the orange here and also like the blue for the core, so it's a little bit better, but as a drive strip, so yeah, you can see how much of a difference that made. Yeah, it's just a really, really nice Bottleman, a great remake for Battle Phoenix, so big fan of it. And it is a retool of Colomar DX, or Colomar Energy DX, and yeah, speaking of, number 6 is Colomar Energy DX. I actually prefer the color scheme on Bottle Phoenix, but this one, not as bad as I thought it was going to be initially. The yellow is fine, the gold's pretty cool. However, it was the first to do it, so I will give this one a little bit of extra credit, because I do still like it enough. And I prefer the eyes on this one by quite a bit as well, so yeah. They're pretty close. I probably could have gone either way, realistically, but this is the original, so I put it a spot higher. I like the springs here that, add some extra, tension onto the hold parts. You got the drive strip, you got like a really big grip here. You can also add the Colomar DX arms and rubber pieces as well. Just a really, really nice Bottleman overall. Number 5, Kokoryu. This thing, it looks great for sure. It is a good looking Bottleman. I like the black in this thing. The eyes are a little bit weird, but not bad. I like how clean this thing looks. I like the mini cap shooter up here, the barrel magazine. There are power type arms as well, but you can only have one of the 2 arms on at once, which is actually a complaint of mine. I wish that you could have just used everything at once. It's kind of lame to swap stuff out, honestly, but still a very cool Bottleman, and Just has a ton going on, which is just great. However, I said when I talked about Welch Crate, I had two Bottlemen that were really stupid in terms of their position. Let's get into those. Number 4. Bottle Kokoro G. Yep. Okay. This is technically worse Kokoro because it just has the magazine instead of, having everything else. But you know what? It looks clean. I like how it looks. There's nothing for me to complain about with this thing. But the color scheme is just so nice. I don't know, something about the red here, it just looks good. Got the yellow here on some parts, which is solid. I really like this dark red core. That looks great. You also have some, silver accents as well. You got some blue up here, a little bit of gold as well. I don't know, something about this Bottleman just works very well for me. And yeah, it just works as a kind of a Koryo remake as well. I just like it a lot. Like, I know in no realm should this be above Kokoro, but I don't care. I just like how it looks too much. Number 3, Bottle So Revo G. Same story. Probably should not be above, but it is. And I like it a lot. Yeah, this one has a barrel instead, which looks pretty nice, but also, yeah, you got the gold. A little bit of a lighter gold, I feel, and then also, yeah, some silver, the red accents, you got the blue, and this is a good example of how to do blue, I feel, so, Aqua Sports maybe should have taken some notes, but yeah, really nice blue. I got the dark blue, you have like this cement color for like the hold part and the trigger, which, that just seals it for me. I think that was like, because the yellow one, Koryo's fine, it looks decent, but like, I think the cement actually adds to this one, and, puts it above. Yes, these two should not be above Kokoro, but I don't care. It's my list. It's just a personal list, so they're above for me. Also, I didn't count this one because it's not really like a proper fusion, but if you want to count Bottle Choriwoji, kind of the mix of these two, that would be above this guy, so doesn't breach the top 2 or anything. It'd just be better than both of these, basically, but I didn't feel like counting that one. It didn't really feel like it made sense to, so I'll have to delete that one out. But anyway, let's go to number 2, my runner-up, which is Dragogena DX. This thing is great. Giant wings, massive 2-part trigger. You can shoot 4 caps at the same time. The head sculpt is great. The entire sculpt of this thing is great. This entire Bottleman is just great. I think this could have been number 1. Even with my number 1 choice, I think this could have beat it. But there is one reason why I didn't, and that is the color scheme. I don't like the color scheme. It's like tan with the gold. It doesn't look great. You got some blue here. This light blue, dark blue. It's not it. This color scheme is pretty mid, but everything else about this Bottleman is just perfect. So, number 2 seemed like a fair spot for it. Imagine if this thing was like black. Like these parts were like black, and then up here is like purple or something. And you like, I don't know, like a lime green or something, or not. Maybe not purple. These should have been like maybe like a silver or something. And then this black, and like these parts can be like purple, and like the cap's like a lime green. This thing would have been such a free number 1 if it was something like that. But yeah, no, the gold, not a great choice. I'm sorry to say. That said, number 1, Cola OG. Yep, this thing has to do it. Someone has to be number 1, and yep, this is this is it. So it is crazy looking. You have these giant legs that you can do like the Kirk Hep gimmick if you want to. Also, they shoot their own vertical caps. Has a giant, big cap core with like a built-in magazine. Got these giant arms as grips. You could also put like these like small cap shooters in here. A really cool head sculpt. And the color scheme actually works pretty well here, so yeah. In terms of sculpt, this and Dragogena are very, very close, but yeah, the color scheme on this thing, yeah, it actually just works well, so, yeah, it gets a number 1 spot. I've talked about this thing enough, though, so I'm not going to go on about it, but yeah, this thing is just so insane that I can't help but to just put it at number 1. It feels like something straight out of Bakugaiden beat 'em on, and, I feel like we hadn't had anything that was on par with Bakugaiden since, well, Bakugaiden, until this thing existed, so I am a big, big fan of Cole OG, and yep, it takes my number one spot as my personal favorite Bottleman. Even with Godcap's jank, it still manages to take that number one spot. And that's that. That is my entire Bottleman ranking. Again, just gonna be for fun video. Been meaning to do this for a while, and yeah, it was not the most fun video to make because I had to like get out everything except for some like recolors. But well, it's done now, and that is my my ranking for every Bottleman. Just how much I personally like them. Again, if you want to know how good these things are, I do have those 3 videos I've already made. They're up, so they exist. But yeah, that's basically all for this video. Just a fun video that I wanted to do after, you know, Bottleman has, I mean, it seems like it's done at this point, so I might as well just do a video for everything, so yeah. Anyways, yeah, thanks for watching, and bye-bye.